Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about if knowledge is power, then learning is a superpower. Learning would be a superpower if knowledge is power. And what kind of bring me to this subject today was I just been kind of doing some processing, just always trying to get a deeper and better understanding of the in-between lines, the spiritual realm, you know what I mean? Not so much the 3D. And in this day and age of information, right, we know we are getting flooded with everything possible. Like, you can type in anything you can possibly think of and almost guarantee you'll be able to find something on it, whether on YouTube or through Google, you know what I mean? And it's so much information out here that a lot of it doesn't have to be learned, you know? It's kind of like watching a sport most of your life but never playing it. You know, you kind of got the idea and the grasp of it, but you ain't never actually been on the field, been on the court, been on the ice. You know, you really haven't been in these places and experienced it. You haven't learned to fully grasp the spiritual connection to it, you know what I mean? And when I think about and process like everything that's going on now, if you are not willing to learn, then usually the substance doesn't hold or set as well or the same. And I guess another example for that would be like, maybe you had like a really creative meal, like somebody whipped up, or you went somewhere and they fixed a really creative meal, and you know how to cook, or maybe you're not much of a cooker, you know what I mean? And you really enjoyed the food, but then you speak on it and do things afterwards like unappreciative of like what the chefs and the cook actually went through and processed, you know, whether to get the items, to meal prep it, or to actually take the time to cook it, you know what I mean? And saying that, it just also puts me in a space of where I heard somebody say yesterday, like, and it was reframing to something else, but it just kind of hit me, and I was just like, oh. He made a statement about a lot of people don't put respect on a certain being's journey, and he was really talking about a basketball player and like his injuries and all these things that he had been through. But me being me, I took it on a deeper level, and I was like, oh. It just hit me, because it's like I was looking at that situation or that player, that being, as, you know, not putting enough respect on his journey, you know? And it just kind of reminded me that, like, you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to be able to put the respect on someone's journey and their process, especially if you can follow their fruits from the time they started, or the time you knew of them, or you able to time travel back a little bit more to the past to see what's going on. But with a lot of the future faking and a lot of this fake ass shit going on out here, like, we don't put enough respect on people's journey. So you have to put the respect on your journey yourself, you know? And that kind of was all playing in hand with me, just like, we all say knowledge is power, right? But it's a lot of knowledge and information out here, and people are not applying it. So if you are not applying it, then it's not power. You know what I mean? And if you really want to flex the knowledge, then the learning is going to be the superpower. Because not a lot of people are willing to dive in and learn. And plus, you already know, even if you exclude looking at other beings, diving in and learning yourself is a boost. It's growing. You know what I mean? It's like wanting to grow. Like, we rejected certain things in like school and all of that shit, because that wasn't really learning, that was programming, that was indoctrinating. So when we was at a certain age, of course, a lot of us was going to reject it and be more rebellious towards it. And you have other beings who was more compromising with it, you know. They put their own energy and their spiritual being to the back burner to be compliant and complacent. We have to be willing to learn in order to be able to use the knowledge properly, you know. So like understanding these things right here, like it's major in this war that we facing. We warring every day out here, like from we already know point A to point Z. We are warring, you know what I mean? So it's hard not to look at beings around us that we allow in our personal space and look at their intentions, you know, and the reasons that they want to be around us or involved with us or have any engagements with us or any of these things in this manner, you know what I mean? Because when I go in people's space, and I know when a lot of us other light workers and beings like go into these spaces, we're not sitting around like trying to create the lowest vibration we can, you know. When we go to people's spaces, we lit, so we trying to pick somebody up. And what's crazy is even when we not at our highest vibration, we still more lit than the other beings that's closer to us, you know what I'm saying? So it's like if 10 of the people are down and you one of the 10, you're still gonna be that one being that's picking 9 other beings' spirits up, you know what I mean? So you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to apply the knowledge. You can watch a million fucking videos, listen to a million people talks, but if you are not applying it, it does you no good. You know, there's no power behind it if you're not applying it. It's like having a refrigerator full of food and you put the lock on it and then you throw the key away. That's cool, you got a fridge full of food, but look at the extent you gotta go through just to access the food because you threw the key away. You know what I mean? So it's like, why would you put all this food in here just to lock yourself out of it? Like, I want to apply it. So when I get new information and new things, like if I learn a new trick, lower frequency, younger playing basketball, if I learned a new trick, a crossover or a move or something, I'm gonna want to try it out on my buddies the next day. I'm gonna want to try to cross their ass up the next day. It's no different than when you study for a test. You got new information, so now you're like, oh yeah, I'm waiting to get this test. Put these questions in front of me. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Once you get that new information, for the ones who are light, you're gonna want to expand that shit. You're gonna want to show it. You're gonna want to grow it. You know what I mean? So knowledge is power, but if you want that superpower, be willing to learn on all levels. You gotta be willing to learn on all levels. And the best way of learning is putting yourself in the situations, you know, putting yourself in certain places. You have to. You're not going to be able to do everything and have the power and the strength that you would like to possess to fight this war if you're not experiencing it. I could tell my daughter all the day how to fight, practice with her, but if she ain't in no real fights, it's not going to hit the same because your energy is in motion. It's a lot of factors that's in place. And then once again, she wouldn't be fighting daddy. She would be fighting somebody that's really trying to harm her. You know what I mean? So you have to experience it. You have to learn. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to apply. We got a lot of oppositions around us, and they're using the same tactics, and we allowing it to kind of rile our energies up to a certain degree sometimes still, you know what I mean? And I know some of that, a small percentage, is because it's like being in jail, you know what I mean? Like if you're in jail and a CO or inmate do something to you in front of a CO, or a CO do something to you in front of people, like you're gonna want to respond and react, but you know the physical consequences outweigh. So that's when your faith has to outweigh, you know what I mean? So that's even like with this right here, just constantly talking and speaking out and speaking up, you know what I'm saying? Like this shit takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of energy. It's not something that everybody can just do, you know what I'm saying? And then even still doing this, to be able to maintain the information up here, to be able to communicate it outwardly, to be able to process and have your breathing and all this shit under control while still doing it, everything, and still have your real life stuff that you have. Or I'm just gonna sit this in the garage right here while I take on this, and then I'll be back over there, you know what I'm saying? It's all a process. This shit ain't been easy, you know. Anybody that's a teacher or in these places and spaces where they reaching out and helping and healing more people too, don't think that they are not going through shit, you know what I'm saying? Don't think that everybody or those beings is in a peachy space because they are actually transmuting their energy on a lot healthier level, but they still have to experience it. They still going through it, you know what I'm saying? And that's for the ones who's not teachers too, you know what I'm saying? We got to just be aware and be applying this information, because I have to engage with beings who go through, we're all going through the same shit. So it only makes sense for, hey, the squirrel was like, oh, I found some nuts over here. This is a good stash spot. The squirrel's like, oh, all right, cool, boom. Or you could keep struggling and doing it the other way, you know what I'm saying? And then not have no nuts for the winter time. It's like, if you want to do it the hard way, we have everything on hard level. There is no medium or easy, right? For us in the Western world, that's light workers. But the other beings, their scales are different. So for them, they have all the other levels, but they choose to do it on the hard level when they can do it on an easier level. You know what I mean? So just being aware, there's information flowing everywhere. It's information flowing everywhere. Somebody could say something right now and then you not apply it, and then all of a sudden you using it outwardly as if it has the weight and substance to it, and it's missing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting a bag of chips that's sealed, and then you bust them open, and there's not one potato chip in there. You know what I mean? It looked good on the outside. It still had the air in it as if it was chips in there, but you bust it open, there's not anything in there. You know what I mean? So we gotta mix it up. You know, we gotta make sure we working on self and paying attention to us and what's going on within us and around us. And then we also have to point the finger at these motherfucking demons out here that's creating this shit that's around us. Like, I'm just light right here, just vibing, and then all of a sudden, all this disgusting stuff just start popping up around me, and then let the gurus tell it, you're just supposed to be in peace. None of that exists. It's not real. That's bullshit. I can smell it, I can feel it, I can sense it. I want to get the hell away from it. You know what I mean? Do something about it. You know what I mean? But I don't want to run up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.